What do you say to someone who says, Justin, I want to get into video, I just don't know where to start?
First one is that you already have everything right now. If you have access to spend any money, then level up your audio first. Audio is almost more important than the video. The third one is just to actually start.
You should be thoughtful about the first several words that you say in your video too, because Google is actually going to transcribe that, and that can impact your search on YouTube as well. Am I quoting you correctly there?
I want to say those exact words in the right order in the first sentence. But it's those keywords that I know people are searching for. This does two things. It helps YouTube, as you said, because they're transcribing your videos, but also it matches likely what your viewer has just typed into Google or to YouTube.
Today we are joined by the founder of Primal Video. He teaches business owners how to grow their brand and scale revenue with video. Listen, we are in the midst of an expert here. He has over 850,000 YouTube subs, 76 million views on YouTube. Justin Brown, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me here.
Justin, it's absolutely my pleasure. Really excited to talk YouTube tonight. It's something that I'm absolutely obsessed with. So let me start here. I'm going to go back in time a little bit. It's how I like to start my show, going back in time. Tell me, what was one of the most impactful videos that you ever made? A video that after you made it, after you posted, you're like, wow, I feel really great about this. Give me a hot take.
So I think it's probably more so not the specific video, it was the feedback, the response to the video. So early on when we started on YouTube, we started where a lot of people do, or where everyone does, at zero, but we started struggling really early on. I think we were 6 months in, we had around 50 subscribers, and I'm kind of thinking, why is this so slow? What am I doing wrong? And a lot of the stuff that a lot of us out there are feeling on YouTube, you're putting all this time into creating this content. Why isn't it getting views, subscribers? Why isn't this working? And we got right to the point where we're considering stopping it because it's a business decision for us. It's a business tool. But we started to get some comments through, and there's one standout comment. We'd helped inspire someone to make a video to raise awareness for autistic children. And that's like, wow, at this point now, this is way bigger than just me sharing video tips. It's helping other people with what they're here to do and what they're driven to do. So that was kind of the pivotal moment for us. It's like, we need to figure this out. We need to make this work because I want to keep sharing this stuff, and there's people that can use it.
That's to me what video is all about. That's what creating is all about. It's not just creating on your own, but it's inspiring others to create. And that drives me forward a lot as well. And one of the challenges I find with a lot of creators or people that are thinking about creating video is they don't know how to take that first step into video. So listen, Justin, do we need to have expensive cameras? Do we need to have expensive equipment? What do you say to someone who says, Justin, I want to get into video, I just don't know where to start? What are the first 3 steps?
I'd say the first 3 steps, or the first one, is that you already have everything right now. Literally, there's some massive videos on YouTube. There's some really successful channels and things, and they're literally just using a webcam or using their phone. But I will say that if you have access to spend any money, then level up your audio first. So use your phone, use your webcam, grab a $20 lapel lavalier microphone or a little shotgun microphone, whatever it is. Just audio is almost more important than the video, because that's the piece that people need to be able to hear you and consume the content. If the picture's not that great, you can make do, but it's the audio that is the most important piece. So you already have enough. So I think that was 2. The third one is just to actually start. So a lot of people will go and consume courses and content or YouTube, but never actually take action. So you have everything you need. Grab a microphone if you have the ability to, but you can still get great results without it. So I'm not saying don't start till you've got it, but actually go through the motions of making your first videos. Your first videos will be your worst videos for everybody. And then the game then is, how do I improve over time?
Well, that is exactly it. It's getting a little bit better with each video. And I'll tell you what, my first videos definitely were really bad. And they're still a work in progress. I'm a work in progress. That's what the journey is all about. Now, let's assume that anyone that's listening or watching this understands the importance of YouTube. Second largest search engine. You've got the opportunity to reach a lot of people. SEO, really powerful. It also can drive traffic to your website via SEO. But I'm going to get started on YouTube. What are the 3 videos that are really, really important for my channel starting out? What do I need?
Well, I think before you look at any specific video, and we can talk about how you can come up with ideas and everything, but for us, we're looking at, we have a topic, we have an idea that we want to create or share about, and then we're going and doing some research for it. So it's not what I think people want. I might have something I think this is a really good tip that people need. And if they knew this thing, that they're going to have success with whatever that topic is. But people aren't searching for that solution. They're not searching for that tip. They're looking for the problem. They're typing in. They're going to Dr. Google, Dr. YouTube, how to self-diagnose, how to figure stuff out for themselves. So you've got to take that step back on any content that you create and say, what would someone search for to find this? Or what would I search for to find this on Google and YouTube? So then taking that approach into your content is going to be far more strategic than most people that are creating content on the platform, knowing then that you can start to give YouTube what it needs to start featuring your content in front of the right people. So starting with research before you even get in front of the camera is far easier to get your content ranking than to go and shoot a video and then try to figure out keywords, titles, tags, thumbnails, all that sort of stuff afterwards. So definitely start with the research first.
Yeah. And I mean, the more you can listen to your audience, the better. I think that takes time. I'll just give you a quick hot take. One of the ways that I've found great topics to cover on my YouTube channel, just by going to Facebook groups. What are the questions that people in my niche are asking? And then inevitably what happens when people either ask me or ask in these groups, I just say, hey, check out this video. I have a whole video. I mean, this happens daily, especially in Clubhouse, which actually, by the way, for everyone who's watching on YouTube or on Facebook or on LinkedIn, this is actually being recorded live in Clubhouse right now. We're getting the most value for your dollar. Shout out to everyone on Clubhouse. Y'all rock. Make sure you hit that plus button and get your friends in here. So let's talk a little bit about this planning process, this research process, Justin, because I think that a lot of YouTubers they just start posting videos, but having the right tools is a big deal. And Tubebuddy is one specifically that I've been really impressed with. How impactful has Tubebuddy been on your YouTube growth? I'd like to know.
Tubebuddy, I think where we started to actually grow on YouTube was almost the exact same time that we installed Tubebuddy. I think the reason that we installed it initially was that we wanted to go back to all of our previous content and bulk or batch upload, not batch upload, like find and replace across a lot of videos. We wanted to add an affiliate disclaimer into all of our YouTube videos, and I didn't want to copy and paste stuff throughout. So just that one tool alone in Tubebuddy, being able just to edit all of your video descriptions or find and replace text across all of them was huge. But then you get into the keyword research stuff, your video, your analytics, looking at the tags and looking at what competitor channels have out there. That's really the stuff that you can get that leg up on your content. But for us, the main place that we go to come up with topic ideas is just the YouTube autofill or the Google autofill, where you start typing stuff in and it's auto going to suggest stuff. That's not random stuff that it's suggesting. That's stuff that people have actually searched for. And normally what you'll find is that those things, the higher they are up in that 10 or 15 that are shown, the higher they are, closer to the top, the more frequently they're searched. So we use that first off to validate ideas and also look at the words specifically that people are searching for. So one example, we did a video, Premiere versus Final Cut. So two video editing programs. The difference between Premiere versus Final Cut and Final Cut versus Premiere was huge. I forget which one was the top one, but even having those words in there, having them around the opposite way could have been the difference between ranking on page 1 and showing on page 4 or 5, because you're matching exactly what people are typing in, even though the words are the same.
Yeah, and something actually, I think you might have mentioned this, Justin. You should be thoughtful about the first several words that you say in your video too, because Google is actually going to transcribe that, and that can impact your search on YouTube as well. Am I quoting you correctly there?
Yeah, 100%. So we have a very strategic approach. We don't create the videos that I want, without doing that research to see what would people be searching for. So those words, once we've figured out that it is Premiere versus Final Cut or best video editing software on Mac, I will literally use exactly those words in the right order. So I'm using a teleprompter so that I don't mess it up. I'm not going off the cuff. I want to say those exact words in the right order in the first sentence. So the start of every one of our videos is something like, are you looking for the best video editing software on Mac in 2021 or whatever it is? But it's those keywords that I know people are searching for. This does two things. It helps YouTube, as you said, because they're transcribing your videos, but also it matches likely what your viewer has just typed into Google or to YouTube. So they're hearing it as well and going, wow, this is exactly going to solve my pain or my problem or the question that I have. I'm going to stick around longer to at least, see if it's what I want. Because people, when they click your videos, there's almost like a little bit of anxiety there. Is this the right one? Should I have clicked the other one? This one's 12 minutes. The last one, like the other one, there was 3 minutes. So you've kind of got to let them relax into your content, hook them in. And so doing that helps the algorithm, and it also helps your viewers as well.
So I want to dig a little bit deeper into your planning process, because obviously planning out what the topic is, what the title is, what your first several words are going to be, that's planning, that's research. How far in advance do you plan out your videos? Is this just like, I'm waking up on Monday, I'm going to shoot a few videos, or are you planning them out weeks in advance?
No, we are planning them weeks in advance. And I think with anything, the more you can batch create or get into the headspace of something and not jump between different tasks, like when you're in the zone for keyword research or for researching video topics, then do a few. So for us, we'll normally do 8 to 10 a month. We're only releasing 1 video a week, but we are planning and prepping for most months. We do 8 to 10 videos. So when you're in that headspace of keyword research, that's all you're doing. Then maybe the following week is when I'll go and start shooting them again in batch, so that you're not jumping around, because the keyword research thing is really powerful, not just for finding one-off topics, it's for coming up with like every topic for all of your content, and looking at the numbers. So, wow, 200,000 people search for this every month. How could I create a video around that that's going to be a fit for my audience? Or how do I start with that as the video, but then take the viewers, lead them through with what I think they actually need to know? So it's really powerful.
So so this is a really interesting point, Justin. You're kind of taking the viewer on a ride based on where you believe they want to go, based on what the question that they've asked to YouTube. So they type in their question, they fall on your video, you're going to give them the answer. What importance do the end cards or the cards in the end scene, what impact does that have on your video and your video planning process?
Most people don't make it to the end of a video. That's just how it is on YouTube and on any other platform. They'll get what they want and they'll leave. So yes, it is still really powerful to have those things there, because the people that do make it to the very end, they've either fallen asleep watching your content, or they're your action takers. They're the ones that actually want that next step from you. So your end cards, your end screens should be, what is the next best video for this viewer on their journey, based on specifically what they've watched just then. So wherever possible, if you have the next best video for them, if they're in the headspace of video editing, I'm not going to go link them to a camera review, even though you might go, all right, cameras, editing, there's a connection. No, the viewer has just watched editing. How do we give them more editing content, or something that is related to editing that's going to help them with maybe finding music for their editing? So like the next step that they might get stuck on.
Well, let me ask you a question.
Link to someone else's content.
Link to someone else's content.
Yeah, because you got to look at this and say YouTube is rewarding sessions. If you start a YouTube session and then that person goes down the YouTube rabbit hole for 45 minutes, is apparently the YouTube rabbit hole right now. If people leave your video and they leave YouTube altogether, that's not a good thing. If they leave and watch the next video of yours that you've recommended, and then they leave that's not a good video. It's not the fit for them. That's also, you've killed a YouTube session. So if you don't have the next best video for your viewers, then link them to one that is a good video that is the perfect fit for them. That's going to hold your channel high, and it's also going to build a relationship with you and maybe a bigger channel. So especially if you're starting out, you can link to bigger channels' content, and it's going to create a connection between your video and theirs, and your video can then start to show up over time after that more popular video. So it's obviously going to be a good video, and obviously something that you want to link people to, but linking to other people's content is something that a lot of people don't do. They want to keep them in their world, and I get that. But you want to grow faster, keep the session going.
That's really, really interesting. So, I mean, at this point, you're a pro. You've got this huge collection of great videos. But let's say for someone that's on the smaller side, less than 10,000, less than 1,000, they don't have that huge, like, how often should we be recommending in our end screens other creators' videos? Like at the end of one of my videos on, let's say, recording Clubhouse, how often should I be recording, sending people to a Justin Brown video at Primal Video? How often should we be doing that?
I think I would only be doing it if it's a fit. If you don't have the next video, then do it. But this is also where you could be strategic, and you could say, look, the video linked on screen, it's an amazing video. Like, you don't even need to call out that it's someone else's video, because you could come back later and change where that video is at, like when you've done your own version of it. So check out the video. If you want to learn this and this and this, check out the video link on screen. And later at some point, you could then swap that out for your own. But I would say, yeah, link your channel. How do you tie your channel to a bigger channel that is already doing or creating the types of content that you are or you want to be, or has, probably more important, the audience that you want for your content? How do you create those ties? So it's a great way to get your content in search and suggested off the back of other content.
And so this is, I think, an important concept, because the only thing on YouTube that you can't edit after the fact, after posting, is the video itself. You can change the thumbnail, the title, the keywords, the end screens. You can change all of that. In your experience, what's something that you go back and you adjust most frequently? Is it titles, thumbnails? What are you frequently editing out post-production? Thumbnails for sure. Thumbnails is something that we spend a lot of time now A/B testing or split testing our thumbnails. Because, I mean, you could have the world's best video. If it's not showing up on the platform or it doesn't get clicked, then no one's going to see it. So you can do all you can to help it show up on the platform, doing your keyword research and that kind of stuff up front. Then, yeah, if no one's clicking it, no one's going to see it. So we spend a lot of time with Tubebuddy, that you mentioned before, with their A/B testing feature. And I got to say, it's never the one that I think is the better looking thumbnail. It's really interesting, because I see people all the time, and you probably see it too, posting in Facebook groups. Which one would you guys click? This one or this one? And it's not about what we think people would click. Like, let's actually look at the data. Let's actually look at the numbers and see which one they are clicking. That's what's important. And in some cases, we've run those tests and they've been, upwards of 90%, 93, 94% increase in clicks every time that thumbnail is shown over the original. Now, that doesn't mean that that's always going to be the case. We've also run split tests where the new one definitely doesn't perform as well. So it's just interesting. There's no perfect formula besides create something that is eye-catching, something that is engaging, and ideally alluding to what the video is going to be about. If your viewers can look at all the different images, all the different thumbnails on YouTube, and yours grabs their attention, and they can quickly figure out what it's going to be about and that it's a fit for them before they even read your title, that's kind of the pinnacle. You want to get to that level. So the A/B testing is something that me and my team are starting to get into. Because quite frankly, I kept hearing amazing creators talk about A/B testing in Clubhouse. I said, listen, if all the great creators are doing it, I need to jump on it. I need to start trying it. So I got the Tubebuddy. We're going to start A/B testing. When I'm looking at two thumbnails, how different should my thumbnails be? Should it just be like different colors, different fonts, or should they be completely different? What do you think when we're going into A/B testing? How different should our thumbnails be?
Well, I think ideally with any thumbnail, they should be on brand. So you have a consistent theme or a consistent brand, but not that they look identical. I mean, some channels you see and every thumbnail looks exactly the same. It's hard for you to work out, well, what's that video actually about? You've actually got to concentrate and read what the text says on the thumbnail, or look at the images to see if it's a fit. So for us, it's consistent fonts, consistent colors around the text. So we have a black or a blue border or box behind the text. That's consistent. We also have my face on all of them. The idea is that then if someone has maybe watched one of our videos, that they might recognize me in the thumbnail, they might be more likely to click another video. So we have a consistent theme, but inside of that, we're changing colors. We're changing what I'm doing on the thumbnail. If I'm holding something up, pulling a silly face, pointing, whatever. So when we're shooting these thumbnail images, I'm literally just doing that. At the end of every video, I'm pointing silly faces, holding stuff up. Again, whatever you can do to help your viewer work out what your video is about. If you're going to be speaking iPhone, hold up an iPhone, or put up the Apple logo or something on there, or a specific program, put the company logo on there. So the people that are looking for that go, yep, I've seen that before. That's the one I want. Yeah. So there's really beyond that. There's nothing else that we are not testing. Like we've had some that are fluoro pink in the background just to grab attention. Some that are just full images and really like distracting ones that you would think no one's ever going to click that. So we're testing all sorts of things, but it doesn't stray away from their consistent branding, fonts, colors and things, and also my face on them.
I like that. I like that. And of course, we're talking to Justin Brown here from Primal Video. We are not only recording for YouTube, for Instagram, for LinkedIn, for Facebook. You're going to be able to see this video everywhere. We are also recording live in Clubhouse. Shout out to everyone in Clubhouse who is just loving life right now. We're going to be bringing people up on stage here in just a moment to actually be featured on the After Hours Entrepreneur and ask your question to Justin. So thanks for hanging out with us. Before we get into the live Q&A here, Justin, I also want to know about trends that you're excited about. One of the things I keep hearing when I'm talking to people about YouTube, about TikTok, about these platforms that are coming up is different trends in video, things like Clubhouse, for example, really impacting the market. What trends are you excited about when it comes to video creation going into the next several years?
I think the shorter form content is something that's really interesting. So obviously there's TikTok, YouTube now has shorts, there's Instagram Reels, all of those sorts of short, sharp content. I think that kind of changes the game because it's not that it's one or the other, because people are still going to want to dive deeper into topics. But I think the art of grabbing people's attention in a really short time period is something that's, I think a lot more of us are going to have to learn how to do it and learn from the people that are successful on places like TikTok or even YouTube Shorts, even though it's so new. I think that's kind of where the game kind of has to move to, and then introduce people to your longer form content too.
Me and my team are definitely creating a lot of short form content, because the cool thing that you can do with a 15-second video is you can post it everywhere. Not only can that be a YouTube short, that can be an Instagram reel, it can be a LinkedIn story, you can just post it all over the place. You can get a ton of repurposing value, and that's something that we're playing with. And then YouTube shorts can be up to 60 seconds, if I'm not mistaken. It's a vertical format. Have you started playing with this with your team, Justin? Is it something you're starting to look at? Where are you at with YouTube shorts?
We haven't done any yet. I was talking to our YouTube partner manager the other day. I'm like, so what are your takes on this? We've all heard a lot of the YouTube experts out there saying shorts and you should start a new channel. You should do it on your channel. Like, it's all conflicting stuff. And it was interesting to hear from her, our YouTube partner manager, saying to do it on the same channel. But be mindful that the content is going to be totally different. So it may have a negative impact at first, but the more that YouTube evolves it, it would be better doing it on a channel that already has some push for that. Now, obviously, that's not for everyone here. I just thought it was interesting to share that because I thought that she would have said the complete opposite, to start a new channel and push this new type of content. Yeah. So I guess the beauty of this is you can test, you can try stuff. There's a lot of people that are having success with both that we've seen. But as for me personally, starting with it yet, I haven't yet, but we definitely will be.
Yeah, I mean, so there's two sides to this coin. The one side of the coin is every time a platform releases a new feature, you want to try it as soon as possible because the algorithm rewards the bold. It rewards the people that take these risks and try out the new things. The flip side, though, with YouTube is it hurts your watch time. If your average watch time is, let's say, 6 minutes per video, and all of a sudden you're getting 30 seconds per video, maybe that hurts. But I think I'm with you there based on all the experts that I've spoken with, that try it on your main channel, see how it goes. And, unless you have 850,000 viewers like Justin, I would say just go ahead and just start knocking it out on your main channel regardless. But Justin, this is fantastic. I want to get to the Q&A here in just a moment. Really excited. We're here with Justin Brown. Before we get into that, I want to go through the rapid fire for all our YouTube friends out there. You ready? You strapped in?
Okay, let's do it.
All right. So Justin, if there was only one app you could have on your phone, what app would you have?
It would be the YouTube Studio app, the YouTube Creator app.
Yeah, great app. If you could only have one subscription in your life right now, what subscription would you have?
Netflix. I think that's you mean subscription for anything? I'm going to say Netflix only because I'm chilling on Netflix right now. So.
Okay,
yeah.
That's fair. Just as a side note, After Hours Entrepreneurs, we don't care too much for Netflix, right? But listen, at the same time, you gotta relax sometimes. So I can empathize.
It's the switch off.
I give Netflix a bad rap, right? Because it's just one of the many things out there that can distract you from your greater goals. The flip side, though, is this hustle mentality can be dangerous, when you're just going, and all of a sudden your body shuts down. So, I'm empathetic to taking breaks.
That's it.
If
hustling your ass off was something that would work for everyone. I mean, a lot of people are hustling in the wrong direction. I think that's the direction piece they're missing. So they're putting in the long hours, but they're not necessarily seeing the results. So I think little switch off time in there is to recoup.
No, you're
100%
right. And that kind of brings us back to the very beginning of this interview, in that you need to do your research up front. You need to listen to your audience and do the A/B testing. I mean, that just kind of brings everything full circle, that tip there. If you woke up in the morning, Justin, there was only one business task you could do for the day, what would you do?
I would interact with people. I am a people person. I'd much rather, so I'd be in the YouTube comments, or I'd be jumping on calls, podcasts, hanging out with awesome people like I am right now. This is the stuff that I enjoy, being in front of people and helping and sharing and hoping to move the needle forward with other people.
Love that. Love that. And if you had 10 seconds with yourself 10 years ago, Justin, what would you say?
Oh, don't overthink it. Don't overthink it. It's, you're not going to do something wrong and mess up. It's like, just try and test stuff. I think that's great advice for anyone. We all overthink things. We all think that one little change, if we do or say something is going to make or break whatever. Just have fun with it. And it's at the end of the day, if we're not here having fun, then what's the point of what we're doing?
Great advice. Justin said it. I agree with it. Justin, thank you for that insight. I'm glad you enjoyed this episode. I've got several other episodes right here for you. Smash one of these videos to make sure that you don't miss out on the tips, tools, and tactics of industry experts. Let's take that side hustle full time. Smash one of these links.